Yeah, I think that's the question that everybody's asking now, Bev. It seems like this is a really pivotal moment in what people are saying, not only this war, but also for the future of Israel. Going back a few days, it was Joe Biden, the United States president, who made a quite unexpected public announcement that saying that Israel had put forward this proposal, a new proposal that would see a ceasefire and hostage release deal in exchange for the release of some Palestinian prisoners and an end to the war in Gaza, and calling on Hamas to now go forth and to consider this proposal and come back with an answer. Since then, we've learned that things aren't as simple as it seems, although it does look likely that Benjamin Netanyahu has given some sort of private approval for some sort of Israeli plan. It certainly doesn't appear to be what Joe Biden spoke about the other day. We have heard from the Prime Minister himself, Benjamin Netanyahu, that one of the key contentions, one of the key obstacles that has been an issue throughout this entire war and the negotiations around a ceasefire continues to be on this issue of a complete withdrawal of Israeli troops. And on Friday, Joe Biden suggested that this new deal included the complete withdrawal of Israeli troops. That's now been shot down by Israel, which means that even if Hamas comes back and says that it agrees with the proposal, it doesn't mean that this is now the grounds for a ceasefire to go ahead. There is still going to have to be an enormous amount of negotiations to go from this point. And I guess what a lot of people in Israel are speculating is that this deal may not go ahead because of Israeli officials who are so strident in what they say is their goals of this war, and that includes not leaving Gaza and their soldiers not leaving Gaza before they believe that they fully destroyed Hamas, which at the moment they haven't. The US says Hamas no longer has the capabilities to carry out an attack like October 7, but Israel doesn't necessarily regard that as its strategic objective in this war. So there are massive gaps. And as you mentioned, Bev, one of the key considerations in this is a political dilemma for Benjamin Netanyahu. The far-right members of his coalition government have threatened to quit and effectively topple the government, bring down the Netanyahu government and his tenure as Prime Minister should this deal go ahead. So on the one hand, you've got the United States, who is, I think, trying to put a bit of pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu and almost strong-arm Israel into coming to the table with a deal that means a complete end of the war, because that is only what Hamas has said they will accept. They will not accept anything short of a complete end and a complete withdrawal of Israeli troops. And on the other side, you've got Benjamin Netanyahu's political career, which could end if he agrees to this deal. So Israeli commentators are saying this is probably the most important decision that Benjamin Netanyahu has ever had to make in his political career. And there's a lot more at stake than just his future or the future of the Gaza war. This goes more broadly towards the future of Israel, the reputation of Israel that continues to go down on an international standing every day as this war continues.
Yes, indeed. There's no backward step either on the rocket attacks, on the attacks on Gaza. More deaths reported. And this is probably one of the key reasons the US is trying to get him to the table, because the situation now is beyond dire in Gaza.
And there's political considerations, Bev, as well for the US President Joe Biden, who's up for re-election in just a few months' time. And this issue strangely has emerged as one of the key defining issues of his re-election campaign and is greatly impacting his chances at re-election. There is, amongst a large number of voters in America, a view that the continuation of this war is wrong. They say that the United States should use its pressure to stop providing bombs and weaponry to Israel that they are using on attacks inside Gaza, including killing innocent civilians, and that they should use their diplomatic pressure to bring about the end of this war, which is, I think, what we're seeing now of more. We're seeing this very overt and public statement from Joe Biden that doesn't necessarily align with what Israel may have thought the proposal was. But as you mentioned, inside Gaza, that bombing, that aerial campaign and that ground campaign continues every day. I speak with contacts of mine in Gaza who tell of just horrific stories every day of people that they know and of stories that they've heard of people losing their lives. And there's just this sheer sense of desperation. They keep saying to me, does the world not see what's happening here? Why is nobody standing up for us? That is how Palestinians inside Gaza feel at the moment. And all eyes are now on what's happening in the south, in particular Rafah on the Egyptian border, where Israel started its partial invasion there at the beginning of May. We're now moving into nearly a month that Israeli forces have been on the ground in Rafah, and they continue to advance that invasion. They started in the eastern parts, they're now in the central parts, and as you would assume, there would be a plan for this to move into the western areas. And Israel says it's because that's where the last bastions of Hamas are hiding out. Hamas says that's not true, but Israel says that Hamas is really the last stronghold that it needs to conquer in this war. I will point out, though, Bev, that for months now, months and months, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, has been saying that Israel is one step away from victory. Well, that one step seems to be taking a very long time, according to critics of this war.
Yeah. Allyson, always appreciate your reporting. Thank you so much.